This is a Headgum podcast.
You're a couple of years older than me, but we grew up, I think, in the same sort of LA comedy lesbian space.
Yeah.
And
Lesing around. Can I stop there?
yeah.
What is lesing
That's the end
around?
of the show? Okay, so there was one thing I did just kind of need everyone here to know.
Okay.
Happened to me this morning and has been happening to me.
Oh, gosh.
So not to brag, but in the morning I go for a walk,
Yeah.
famously around the reservoir.
Oh, okay. I
And,
guess famously now. Yeah.
And, I go at a certain time and I sort of know most of the people and recognize, I'm like, it's that person with that hat and whatever.
Right.
Anyway, the point is, the other day, I have been matching up the last few days with a new person.
Who keeps walking around the reservoir at the
Like
same
at
time?
the same
Got it.
time. And I would say he's a little older, maybe he's 60.
Okay.
And he is wearing like a kind of workout pant, but that has like a separate sock for his peen.
Oh, okay.
There's like
Oh.
like the way there's like those shoes with individual toes.
Okay.
But it's just like it's his penis
for his
is in a
penis.
sock that's attached to the pants.
Are the balls in another sock?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Uh,
Don't speak too soon.
has anyone ever seen this?
Actually, no.
It's insane.
That's- And do you feel that he is doing this sort of performatively or just for comfort?
I don't think it's performative. I think he's doing it for comfort. But it's like if I sat here with like
No,
a mitten
I
in
can
one
imagine
finger.
it.
I'm sorry. I don't even know what
Wow.
to do about it. I
And
don't know where to look.
Each time you've matched up with him, he's wearing the same
He's
penis
wearing
sock?
the same, unless he's bought a few. He liked it so much he got a few in the same color.
Well, I mean, I do
Or
that.
he's washing it every day.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get a sweatshirt in purple. I'll get it in green.
Yeah. I
but-
don't know. I'm sorry. I just had to throw it
No,
out there.
that feels an important thing to talk about.
I don't know. I guess I should just Google it. But okay. Anyway.
Yeah, I
all
mean,
right.
you could,
I guess
dare
the
I
pod's
say,
really starting now.
ask him.
What is that? What is the ask? What does
the
it look
ask,
like?
thank you.
He's jogging.
No, he's jogging.
Yeah, he's
well, I
jogging.
guess you could sort
Slowly,
of
but he's
start
jogging.
You could sort of
Is
start
it
to
a run up next to him?
Yeah.
Sir.
You're picking up pace. You're running up next to him.
What do I
it's
ask?
a sir. I mean, he's begging to be asked.
Do you think? Maybe.
Who's wearing a penis sock and thinks that nobody's going to
It's the
notice?
craziest thing I've seen a person wear outside.
And it's LA. That's saying
And
a lot.
it's LA. Okay, I'm sorry. I just
No.
needed to know if this was something anyone's seen.
Hey, Jessi Klein.
Hi, Liz Feldman. We're coming in hot
Coming in hot. We're
today.
coming in hot today. Ooh. I realize that we should probably explain how we got here.
Who we are?
Who we are and how we got here.
Yeah. No one knows.
Literally.
Literally no one
No
knows.
one
We're
knows.
fresh into the pod.
Very fresh. Yeah, this is like literally our second episode.
This is our second episode.
I think, it's important to sort of give our origin story, if you will.
Like Superman.
So, yes, like where the planet of which we were
came from a
planet.
And
then
then kryptonite. And he lifted they saw him throw a ball really
Rest
hard.
is history.
Right? So we met in the writer's room of a little TV show called Dead to Me that seems like you created.
That's what I was told. I was told that I created it. But going back even a little bit before that,
Okay.
I remember the first time I ever saw your face. The
Like
first
Roberta.
time ever I saw. Okay, I'm not a good singer. But,
Please don't talk about my
beg
friend Liz
to
Feldman
differ.
that way.
so the first time I ever saw your face was when, and I'm going to brag for you, you were winning an Emmy.
That was what?
That's really the first time I ever saw your face because
Really?
I was a big fan of the Amy Schumer show. And I really thought that show was not just a wonderful show to watch, but I could just feel how well written it was.
Oh, well, thank
And
you.
it's
It
like
took
something,
a whole village.
Of course, but you were the head writer.
I was.
And I remember when you guys won the Emmy and I saw you go on the stage and it was like one of those like more moments It was one of those moments in life that I'm like, I just clocked you in a very like real way.
Oh my God.
And I thought like, she's cool because
Wow.
if she's the head writer of that show, she's smart.
Okay.
And I probably would like her.
Can I ask a quick question about that?
Yeah.
Because this has haunted me ever since.
Okay.
Could you see my Spanx?
Oh my God.
First
of all, I don't remember.
Okay. Well, if you don't remember, then good.
I mean,
Then
but
you
also
probably
like,
didn't
what
see
kind
them.
of monster would I be if like, how many years ago was that? If I remember seeing your Spanx.
I just always felt like at that moment, like I felt like a spank peeked out, but it's okay.
I saw you, and then when your name was brought up to say, hey, maybe Jessi Klein might want to join your writer's room, I was agog, I believe the kids say.
So nice.
I really was. And then...
Funny how on the other side of that, I was desperate to work on your show.
Well, that's
That's
nice.
Truly.
That's really sweet.
Watched the pilot and was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
I want to ride this coattail.
Well, guess what?
Get me in here.
Get on these coattails.
Then we met at we had coffee.
We did have coffee to meet to make sure that this was going to be
to make
good.
sure we were a good marriage. And I remember I was there early. I went in. I was looking for you. It was crowded. There was an in and an out. This is great stuff for the pod. But I was like, where is this much? And then you were already there.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, hi. And I felt like there was a moment where I was like, am I now 1 minute late? And she's like, this girl's 1 minute late?
No, didn't even.
Okay.
I don't remember that at all.
You didn't see the Spanx. You didn't clock the 1 minute.
I think what we're learning about me is I'm not a details person.
You're like, have we ever met?
Yeah,
Okay.
No, I just was thrilled to meet you, and then I know once we were in the room together, like my memory is that at some point you and I were just bantering back and forth.
Oh, once I had been given this job.
Yes, you were. Greatly. I mean, like I was.
So
falling at your knees to give you the job.
Please. Falling.
I feel like I'm.
What is it?
I don't know. Now I can only think about the penis sock.
I'm sorry. That's why I had to bring it up. It's all I can think about.
It's understandable.
Anyways, sorry,
anyway,
guys.
I unfurled my penis sock and I said, hey, come work on my show.
And it was the greatest room ever, and we all made a bunch of friends there.
We sure did. But I do remember, like, at some point you and I just bantering and realizing that we had probably been talking for like 10 minutes and everybody around the table was just watching us.
Well, the thing is, and this is, I think, also something that we want to establish, just for the millions of new listeners, is that we have a lot of things in common,
and
yet there is also an undercurrent of like an odd couple.
Yeah,
because
if you will,
if you would,
but we are Jews from New York who are writers. Sorry,
yeah. We're Jews from New York. You're famously from Bay Ridge.
Thank you.
I grew up downtown in the Village.
Pretty famously.
We're both writers. We work in the biz, but we're at different points in our life.
We are. Would
you like to describe your life situation?
I'll describe my life situation by saying that I'm a happily married gay.
HMG.
I'm an HMG, and I have the most ridiculously sweet 2-year-old daughter.
Oh, so sweet.
Who we are just absolutely, obsessed with.
Cutest in the biz.
My wife and I tried to have a baby for 9 years, and
it goes by so quick.
Guess what?
It?
Worth the wait. #worth the wait.
#worth the wait.
Yeah, my daughter Ezzy is the greatest single person on the planet, and I'm sorry to everybody else.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Thank you. And your situation?
You're like, are you ready to kind of bring the room down? No, I am a divorced working mom, a DWM.
Yep.
On a dating app journey. We'll share bits of that at certain points. Ready to have a DM moment off of this pod. I was didn't work when I went on Tig's pod. We'll talk about that later. But that's kind of my general sitch.
Yeah.
What else? I'm on Celexa. I'm addicted to Ambien.
Okay. She's really putting it all out. And
I took a Xanax yesterday, but I try to save that just for hard days.
Yeah. No, I think that's good. We have the same therapist.
We share a therapist.
That seems important to mention, which hasn't been an issue yet, but we'll see.
But
I also think that almost most importantly, in terms of our similarities, we're both friendship nerds. Like
We're friendship nerds.
we really like friendship, and we're always sort of seeking out friends. We like talking about friendship, and I think we were both pretty, dare I say, giddy to become friends with each other.
I was going to say jazzed.
Okay, giddy and jazzed.
We were giddy and jazzed. Well, because you were the first friend I had made as a grown-up in a while.
Yeah,
Not
same.
the only one I've ever made as a grown-up. Is grown-up, we were just saying? Do you sound like a child when you say grown-up instead of adult?
You sound so young when you say grown up.
We grown up. You were the first grown up. I was like, oh, this is like someone I'm really making friends with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that felt like very jazzy and
Significant.
exciting.
Yeah.
Significant.
It felt significant.
And so that's the journey that we're currently on.
Yeah, that's our journey.
That's the journey.
And you know what's amazing is having a 2-year-old, I have just watched her, like literally in the last few weeks, make her first friend. Like she actually made a friend, not somebody that I, was like, this is somebody you're going to be friends with because I like their mom.
Yeah.
Because she has
Play
a friend.
date.
Play date, exactly.
Set up play date.
It's like she has sort of this forced, wonderful best friend named Emmy, who is the incredible daughter of Scott and Kulop.
Sure.
But then Ezzy goes to school, my daughter Ezzy goes to school, and I pick her up, and the teacher's like, you should set up a play date between her and George. And I'm like, who? George, what?
Yeah. Who the fuck is George?
Exactly. And the teacher goes, yeah, they hold hands more than they don't.
Oh my God. They hold hands more than they don't.
Yeah,
that's the kind of love I want to find.
The teacher was like, who's a man, believe it or not, said,
Oh, wait. What?
Yeah, excuse me.
The surgeon is operating on their own. What?
Yes. The teacher was like, you should set up a play date. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then I kind of panicked because I don't know the parents.
Yeah.
So then I'm like looking at the roster. I got to look at the roster.
Oh, the class roster.
I got to look at the class
you
roster and be like,
the parents.
I fully rostered.
You rostered
I
them.
rostered the mom.
That's a bold move.
That's how much I love my daughter.
But welcome to being a mom. I've reached new heights of thirst. As a parent, on behalf of my child, I will humiliate myself in terms of
I totally get
reaching
that.
out to people and just being like, hi!
you
Hang
wanna
out
be-
with us.
There's your child. I wanna be friends with my child.
It's a vibe. It's a new vibe.
It really is. It's so weird. Like it almost feels like online dating, or it feels like some sort of form of dating, because like I'm like calling this or texting. Let's be honest. I'm texting the mom.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to lie.
Stop with the lies.
Yeah, it's a second fucking episode.
Stop fucking lying.
She was like fully game, and
Where'd you go?
We went to the Long Beach Aquarium.
Hot, hot, hot.
Highly recommend.
Also, literally, it's so hot
so
in there.
hot, very hot.
It's so hot
it's
in there.
very moist and sort of.
It's moist.
There's sort of a denseness to the air.
Yes.
And there is a prawny smell. There's a
Prawny smell?
There's a bit of a prawny kind of octopusian kind of smell in there.
I'm going to say it's very penguin-y.
Yeah. Well,
very penguin.
There's a penguin element, but then there's also like
Top notes of penguin.
there's top nose. It's a little bit fish tank forward.
It is so fish tank forward
but
in there.
these kids held hands the whole time, and then when they were sitting down,
Bury me.
they played footsie. They are smitten with each other.
That's so sweet.
mind blowing. And then we took it to the next level, and we went out to lunch. And I wish I was making this up, but we went to lunch at the Bubba Gump across the street.
No!
At the Bubba.
Oh my God!
Which just feels like an affront.
I forgot there's a Bubba Gump.
There's a Bubba
I
Gump.
haven't been there in so long. It's so fucked up.
That is so.
Why?
What the fuck you?
There's it's like a pipeline between the thing you just saw and the thing you're eating.
Yeah, seriously. It's like we were just looking at these like literal prawns, swimming, and they're fucking creepy.
Yeah, I don't
Prawns
like.
are, they're
Disgusting.
creepy. And they're like swimming in this little fish tank, actually with an octopus, callback. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, eating his fried
Carving
cousin.
up a leg.
Yeah.
I'm sorry the Bubba Gump of it all. That's very exciting that it is exciting when they make their own first
really is.
little buddy that
It really
you
is.
haven't done.
I feel like proud of her, and I just like, it's very exciting, and we really liked the parents.
That's also really exciting because that can break bad.
Yeah, it can break. It can
That
break
can
awkward.
break awkward and bad.
But it broke real good.
I'm happy for you. That's so great.
Thank you. Speaking of new friends, we've got an old friend sitting here with us today.
I mean, America's oldest friend. I don't know. I don't know.
I am going to be 54 in a few days. So
Really?
Calm down.
I don't know. Wait, I just don't think of you as being 54.
You
You're
need to
like
start thinking
forever
about it.
40.
Now
to
I
me.
can't stop thinking about it.
Okay, go on.
Today's friend is an Emmy and Grammy nominated comedian, actor, writer, director, producer, and podcast host, named one of the 50 best stand-up comics of all time by Rolling Stone.
That's fancy.
Couldn't agree more.
That's really fancy.
You've seen her in One Mississippi, The Morning Show, and Star Trek, as well as movies like Your Place or Mine and Army of the Dead. She co-hosts the Handsome podcast and produced the Sundance-winning documentary Come See Me in the Good Light. Tig Notaro, you're here to make friends.
Hi, Tig.
Hi.
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 Thanks
Hi.
for coming and hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me.
Have you been to that aquarium?
No, but my son, Max, wants to be an oceanographer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's very
and-
sophisticated and very elevated as a
Oh, you saw
career
their
choice.
pictures.
Yes, yes. No, they're dapper gentlemen.
Tig did just show us pictures of her beautiful children, and they are both wearing blazers.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because we took them to a friend's tree trimming party, and they wore Christmassy colored button-down plaid shirts, and then they have these little sweaters, like grandpa sweaters that have elbow pads. And our friend was like, "Oh my God, these are like two little Midwestern uncles."
That tracks. That tracks is the kind of children you would produce.
yes, absolutely.
They're really funny. They're very engaged and talkative and like hands in the pockets. Like, so how's work been going? You know, that kind of stuff.
They're twins.
They're fraternal twins.
They're twins.
And yeah, they're pretty spectacular.
There are like certain kids. So, and how old are they now? Because
They will be 9 in June.
Right.
And
they're close to my son's age because he's 9. I think they're like 1 year, almost exactly.
you're like a mathematician over here.
9, and
Just
then my
crunching
son's gonna be
numbers.
10. So
And then what's
carry
after
the
that?
3. They're 5 years apart. Well, there are certain kids I've noticed around this age who certain types of kids emerge as being the kinds of kids who are just very good at talking to adults and feel a little more
Totally.
adulty.
Yeah.
Like Asher has a friend who is such a sweet kid. And he is one of those kids. I think sometimes it's more of an only child thing, but anyway, we were over for a hang, and this kid, so sweet. Like when we were leaving, he said goodbye to Asher, and then he looked at me and he said, "It's always a pleasure to see you." And I was like, "I love you." So, truly, no adult has said that to me in ages. It was so nice. They say the darndest things.
Oh my
They
God.
really do.
You know how some people, you think you know them and then their text personality or their social media personality is not quite in line. And you're like, that's weird. Well, our sons, we got them iPads at Christmas or something. And
Rich.
yeah. Well, they had an Amazon like tablet. And we told them it was
you
an
can do better than
iPad.
that.
Yeah,
You can do
yeah.
better than
Since they were 2.
Well, that's what they recommend for like the youngins is the
right,
Amazon.
but we kept that until they were 8. And so they thought it was an iPad and that we had taken them and it did nothing. Like it couldn't do anything.
Just sort of a piece of plastic.
Yeah, and we took
Yeah.
them to a friend's house and our son Max, who's the oceanographer,
Yes.
he came up to Stephanie and he said, "Mom, remember this name, Apple." Yeah, he was like, because his friends had Apple iPads and their minds were blown, like with what they were able to do, and we were trying to like push off for so long, like, screen and iPad and all that stuff. And he genuinely was like, don't write this down.
Yeah.
Apple.
You got it. You got to look into
Stephanie
this.
was like, okay, thank you. And she was like, we have to get them iPads. This is so stupid.
Yeah.
And so we got them iPads, and we can who can text them and who they can text. And so
that's
they
good.
only text us and their grandparents. And so that all gets...
How's work going?
Truly.
What are the texts?
We set this up like, I don't know, a week or so before. And then Stephanie and I left the house to go out to dinner. And then we get a text from Finn that says, have a great weekend. like we're his coworkers in an office that left for the weekend, We're like, this is hilarious. Have a great weekend.
Did he think that you guys were gone for the
Gone
weekend?
I don't know what I think he was just like my cousin in my hometown in Mississippi. He's the mayor, and we always joke that he's like a little Jimmy because he real hands in the pockets, and
Yeah. Wow. God bless America, I guess.
God bless America.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend and God bless.
I feel like you were, aren't you related to like one of the original mayors of New Orleans or something like that? You have politics running deep in your family.
I do. Yeah. No, my great-great-grandfather was the mayor of New Orleans.
Look, maybe I saw you on like a Finding Your Roots kind of show.
Sure. There's a lot of that.
I love that show.
Wait, were you on that show? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I saw it. So
I really...
you can look over
Thomas!
Why doesn't
tell me?
everyone see what I do?
Oh. You think you see that?
I guess I'm your better friend.
Yeah,
I guess.
for sure.
Yeah, now we know.
Look,
it's not a competition.
It's not
out.
a contest.
It's not a comp.
Thomas, you will hear about this.
I just skipping around a little bit, but like I just want to talk about the fact that I have known you, Tig, for probably over 20 years at this point, and we used to do stand-up together. And like
lesbian around.
We lesbianed around
Not together.
Not
but
together.
No.
Let's not start any
Lesing
rumors.
We lesed around.
We lesed around like in the same social groups because there's only 11 lesbians in Los Angeles, and we all know each
You
other.
were just telling me that. I don't think I had considered it to be such a small
It's a small little group,
Well-
but we're in the same generation. And
Sure.
So we go.
Seems like I might be older because everyone was stunned when I said I have a birthday coming
You're
up.
a couple of years
very
older than me,
young.
but we grew up, I think, in the same sort of LA comedy
Lesing
lesbian
around.
space.
Yeah.
And
Lesing around. Can I stop there?
Yeah.
What is lesing
That's the end
around?
of the show?
I guess more of a pause than a stop. Can you just give me
What that
a
means?
small picture of lesing around?
You have lesbian friends. You go to lesbian events. You do lesbian comedy shows.
Yeah.
You're in the lesbian brand, spending time in the lesbian branded space.
Yeah.
you are somebody that like we have not been like everyday friends.
No.
Or every week or every
Like me and Jessi.
Wait.
Constant.
Constant
contact.
Constant.
Shit. Well, I'm a little jealous, but
Okay.
what is sort of amazing about you is that you have really, and I'm taking it to a sincere note here.
well,
You have really
co-sign.
shown up for me in some really amazing ways that I want to thank you for in public. In that many years ago, I was diagnosed with C. diff, and I had known that you sort of famously suffered from that, which is like, it's just like a deadly bacterial disease that can kill you. And I had no idea what to do. And I thought, wait, maybe I can reach out to Tig, even though we hadn't talked in probably many years at that point.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you, and you immediately reached back out, and you gave me all this guidance about how to deal with this like pretty shitty illness. And I mean, really difficult.
Yeah,
Truly
it's tough.
a very difficult time of my life.
Nobody wants it.
Nobody wants it. And you saved my life.
Oh,
You really did.
wow.
You really did.
So what the information I sent you was helpful?
It was incredibly helpful. You told me what to eat. You gave me doctor recommendations. You told me what not to do. You just and you also just made me feel less alone in it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
And I just want to thank you for that
Well,
because I
thank
never
you
really
for-
had a chance to properly thank you. And you're a wonderful person.
Well, I appreciate that, and I have, just so you know, I haven't been sitting around wondering where my thank you was.
Okay. Well, that
but
makes me feel better.
I am very, very happy to know that it was helpful.
That's the kind of person that you are. You kind of show up. And even when my daughter was born, again, hadn't seen you in quite a long time, out of nowhere, I get a gift. I get a gift in the mail
really nice.
because I have a new baby girl, and Tig and Stephanie sent her obviously a dump truck.
Stephanie started. It was her idea. It was I
great.
can't remember who. Maybe it was Natasha's daughter, but she was like, "Oh my gosh, we should get her a dump truck." And I was like, "That is hilarious." So we did that, and then anytime we knew of anyone having a little girl, we were like,
Dump truck.
we got to go get a dump truck.
Yeah.
But don't all the little kids like a dump truck?
Oh my God!
Well, sure, but
she
it's
loves
not.
it.
Jessi, it's not
Jessi.
an obvious
I
thing to
get
send
it.
a brand new baby girl.
I understand the spirit of the gift.
I don't think you
I
do.
don't know.
But I'm just saying.
Jessi doesn't get irony. So.
Guys, the Xanax has not worn off. I tried to get my son a lot of sort of gender neutral gifts, things that aren't like boy gifts.
Right.
And like doll, like whatever. And he did not want to play with them. And he was so obsessed with cars and trucks.
Yeah.
From the jump in a way that bummed me out. Truly, like, and I still to this day, I'm like, how do I now know what a skid steer loader is?
Same.
You know what I mean? Like, you learn what every kind of like caterpillar giant piece of equipment is called.
Yeah.
So I was just curious because
she does like the dump truck, but mostly she just puts her dolls in it. So maybe there's something to that.
Going on there.
But she's, we try to do the same thing. We don't like.
The point is, it's a nice gift, and
it's
it was
a very
sweet
nice
that you
gift.
did that.
Yeah.
And you're a great person.
That is the point.
That's why I'm here.
Back to the point.
But no, I mean, it's like I wouldn't have done that before I had kids, and then you realize that explosive joy, and it's like, I hadn't seen you in years, but it's like, oh my gosh, Liz and Rachel are about to experiencing the complete joy that we've been in for these past few years.
Yeah.
And so I mean, as a stand-up, there's so many people that are frustrated by comedians that are like talking about their wife and kids, and I'm like, that's me 100%. And, get tickets elsewhere because that's what's going to be coming at you.
It is. It's the greatest joy.
It is
of
the greatest
life.
joy.
And it's amazing to finally have it.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your first memory of having like a friend, like a first memory of having a friend you really liked? Like the beginning of, this is what it feels like to sort of connect with a person.
Are you wanting me to say you?
It would be nice.
Okay.
I mean, we met, in our 60s?
My first memory, we lived in Mississippi, and we lived across the street from this family. They had 6 kids. Is it 6?
Carry the one.
Gosh. I can always rely on you to crunch the numbers.
Crunch the number. Calculator
I think it
fingers.
was 6. It could have been 8, though. But
everything depends on it. Go on.
But the 2 youngest kids were around my age and my brother's age, and the Amy and Chris. And I felt like, and Chris was not just my friend, but my first boyfriend.
Holding hands?
Yeah, and we got married in his family Jeep.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was,
And who married you?
Yeah.
we did.
Cool.
Yeah, we did the whole ceremony.
Alone.
Alone
Fully
in
alone.
the Jeep.
Yeah.
But, they came into my life. I mean, I moved to that house when I was 6 months old, and we were right across the street. So those were, in fact, I'm still close with Amy, and my brother is still friends with Chris.
Your husband.
My husband.
Your husband,
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Amy ended up being gay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Look at that.
And
Dump truck coming her way.
yeah.
Do you get a dump truck for someone when they come out?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
I mean,
that's
I'll
fine.
send in your address. I'll send you a dump truck for whatever you're celebrating.
Yeah.
All right, we got a dump truck headed your way. Hammer 3. But yeah, they were really, I don't know, exciting friends. First friends.
Yeah.
First friends.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended in a marriage.
Yeah.
So that's pretty.
And
good
we've maintained the friendship.
That's amazing. What kind of friend do you think you are?
Well, it's been quite an evolution.
Oh.
I bet.
Why do you say that?
Well, when Liz and I were talking about how excited we were to talk to you, because we are both obsessed with you and fascinated by you, and that's the truth. Like we were. Well, I just want to hear the answer to the question.
No, you can tell me.
No. But we were like, we want to hear like what you're very well. Just go on.
Finish your sentence. I'm not a sensitive person, so whatever.
No, it's not about you being sensitive. It's
wait,
but whatever you have to say, I'm very curious
I don't
before
even know
I say.
how to articulate it.
Say whatever you want to say because I'm not sensitive.
You're an interesting person who presents, I think, in a like, and maybe it's just to us Earthlings.
Yeah, I'm not going to dig you out of this.
No, I'm sure it's everyone.
You're a very cool cat.
Yeah.
So please answer the question.
Okay.
Nothing bad was coming.
No, but it's along those lines.
Lower your voice.
I am so upset right now.
It's just like the scream, like popping the mic.
Honestly, I've never been more entertained in my life.
I think I've become a way better friend since my life fell apart in 2012. I think that whatever shaped me as a person, good, bad, traumatic, through my life and childhood, I think I definitely have the I'm cool. I feel like everybody has that thing that gets them through in life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool. Nothing's going to bother me. And I think that what I realize all these years later is that's me obviously protecting myself of like, yeah, no, you can't hurt me. I'm not going to be affected by that. Or, just having that kind of exterior, which I still have. But I do not know myself before I had C. diff and cancer and pneumonia, all of these things all at the same time. My mother tripped and hit her head and died, and my girlfriend and I split up all in a 4-month period of time. And that was rough. And it's funny because people would ask me, would you have said you were someone that needed a wake-up call? And I was like, no, I feel like my friends would be like, no, she's not someone that needs a wake-up call. But as time went on and I really thought about myself, I thought I did need a wake-up call. And I don't recommend the wake-up call I got.
Sure.
But it really made me extend myself to people. It really made me think outside of my world. And because I was so just, I'm doing my comedy and I'm dating this girl and I'm just like, this is my life. And I have my friends and whatever, but I just wasn't, I think, what I am now. And I would drop anything in the world for anybody. I would do anything for anybody. I mean, unless they're a horrible person.
Oh, Nazis.
Huh?
No.
Yeah, not for
Yeah,
Nazis.
not for
I would
Nazis.
not.
No.
I would not. But I feel like I'm definitely somebody that shows up for people.
You are.
You definitely are. You
As
did for
Liz
me.
just
Yeah.
said.
And that is all stuff I would not have thought to do before 2012. I would have been like, oh, gosh, I hope if I heard you were sick, to be like, oh, I hope she feels better. I wouldn't be like,
You wouldn't put yourself out there.
no.
Was it?
Or if I heard you had a kid, I'd be like, oh, cool. Oh, she had a kid? All right. Like, cool.
Okay.
Whereas now I'm like, oh, I get what it's like to be rock bottom. I get what it's like to have these children or a spouse that changes your entire life and view.
Yeah. We were joking, but like, so when the thing that I was kind of saying about you having like this kind of cool cat energy, which obviously is part of your comedy and how you are on stage, but that was part of like how you felt about yourself consciously. Like, were you aware pre 2012, like, I have these walls and I protect myself in this way? Or was it the wake up call that made, like, did you know that was happening or not know that was happening?
I probably wasn't even thinking that much about it.
Yeah.
It's like I was just talking to somebody yesterday. I was doing somebody else's podcast yesterday.
Get out.
Fucking God.
I'm not leaving.
Get
But I was talking about like even my body. I didn't even think about my body when until I had to have a double mastectomy. And when I was being pushed in the gurney to surgery, I was like, I don't want my body to change. And I mean, and now I love my body and I'm more aware of it, but it wasn't until it was about to change that I even thought about. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was so just focused on being stupid and a
being one of
comedian.
Rolling Stone's top
50
yes,
of all time.
I know
Of all time.
that's how you get
All
there.
time.
You're very focused
Yeah.
on that. Did you track like who showed up for you and who maybe didn't?
I did track it, but it was also a lesson of, because I got my feelings hurt a lot during that time, but also so many people showed up in ways. But the thing is that I also learned that there are some people for their own reasons can't show up in those ways during those times.
That it's not personal.
It's not personal.
Yeah.
And that was a learning curve. And there were people where I could go, oh, it took me a beat to understand that.
Yeah.
That people are just doing their best.
Doing their best. They're not trying to be hurtful. I know they love me.
Yeah.
But I was also in very much a lockdown during that time where I only wanted a handful. Like I'm still very close to my childhood. I hate using the word best friend at this age, but truly like the closest person to me who I moved out here with. She's my kid's godmother. We're so intertwined, and that is like my family.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I was talking about.
We were talking about people showing up and people not showing up and tracking it and
like
having
when I
compassion.
came out of the hospital, you know, I couldn't lift my arms. I had to like have my incisions cleaned and drained and all of that kind of stuff. And I was so, you know, when I did my album called Live, that was the first time I really shared personal stuff. So I was cracking open in so many different ways because I also I remember Sarah Silverman had come to visit me in the hospital, and then I ran into Pete Holmes later, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Sarah showed me pictures of you in the hospital," and I got so upset, and I called her and I was like, "Do not tell anyone, don't show anyone." And she was like, "I'm so sorry. That's how I would do it." So I share all of that, and I was like, I was so upset. Now I'm not. I mean, I share everything now, but before, when I was diagnosed, I was like, told my reps, don't tell anybody I'm sick. I didn't want to tell my mother or anybody that I was hospitalized with C. diff.
Yeah.
I was on lockdown.
Yeah.
And even when I got out of the hospital, Beth, my childhood best friend, she wanted to come over and stay with me until I was better because I was single and my mother was dead, and it was just like not a great time.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm okay. And she was like, no, you're not.
No
like,
way
you can't
could be
lift your
okay.
arms.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know, but I can. And she was like,
I can lift things with my mouth.
and she
I
was
still
like,
got my feet.
she and her husband came over and stayed. They were like, we're staying here.
Yeah.
And they took care of me, and it was hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
I totally get that.
And now I'm like, I need
Please
help. I need help.
Yeah.
And when other people need help, I'm like, I will be there. I will absolutely be there.
I also feel like your comedy changed, because of Liv, but also because you were sort of forced to completely change your paradigm of the kind of like how do you not all of a sudden talk about these huge things in your life? It's like, I mean, you've always been honestly one of my favorite comedians, and I don't just say that because you're sitting here.
Same.
And it's like, to me, one of my great sort of badges of honor that we got to do shows together. And, I remember one time you came up to me after a show that we did at the Improv and you complimented me, and I was like, save this in your memory forever. She's one of the greats of all time. Well, so I could remember.
One of the 50 greatest of all time.
One of the 50.
I would
crunching the numbers.
Who's crunching? I can't name the 49 others right now.
I
I'm
can't
only thinking
either.
about
you. Can't either.
But
I can name all the ones after 50, like 51 and
51. Yeah, through 500.
Down to the open micers just getting started. I am up on those names.
What kind of friends are you sort of gravitating towards now? Like, have you made any recent friends that? I mean, like, obviously we are in our middle age. It's like harder and harder to make these friends, but.
Yeah, I when you were talking about your connection, I was feeling a little jealous because it is so hard to.
It's not easy.
No. But I do feel like I have met some new good friends.
Do you have vacancy? Like do you feel like you're like, I have room in my life to take on. If I meet someone where I'm like, I really like this person, I want to be their friend, there's space to like really jump in and try and get in there?
Well, I mean, Stephanie and I talk all the time about, how great is it when you love somebody and then you love their spouse as well?
It's the greatest.
Like when you're,
what a relief.
Yeah,
and
when you're
so rare.
So rare.
So I don't know if it's different with
rare.
lesbian couples because I feel like women are all great, but like
it's not.
Not all women are great.
Yeah, they're not. That's a real generalization.
I can rattle off a few.
Yeah. Should we?
Is this lesbian round? But just you meet great gals and then you're like, oh, who's this ball and fucking chain? But it's exciting.
And all of our friends aren't all lesbian couples.
Yeah, just so you know.
We do go outside of that.
Also do.
Like we love Thomas and Laura.
Cut this part out.
No.
But it's a little embarrassing to say. It's not that I don't enjoy a new friend to one-on-one with, but I do love when Stephanie and I find another couple that we can, go out and have dinner with, and we keep talking about. We've talked about this for years, and God, I want to make sure we do it. But just to have sorry you had to see that side of me.
That's okay. No.
But
I was scared, but I liked it.
Yeah.
Pre-2012 self.
This is actually pre-1979.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really untherapized.
Yeah.
I was Wait, sorry, what were you going to say?
We want to do the thing. We want to start having like a regular kind of group dinner night,
Yes.
and just, I remember one time, I used to work for the TV show Xena, Warrior Princess.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was an assistant there.
Yeah,
and I
bet you lezzed around there.
Yeah, we lezzed around. And Lucy Lawless, the star of the show,
sure.
I became good friends with because she would have me watch her daughter and take her daughter to like Disneyland and stuff and hang out with her whenever she was in town from New Zealand. And Lucy had this dinner that I always thought was so cool. And she invited all of the most important women in her life and asked that they bring the most important woman in their life.
Oh my God.
I know. Girl,
oh my God.
That's my style.
Sister.
Oh my
girl.
Sister, wife, girl?
Yes.
Oh my
and so
God.
after that dinner that was so fun.
Who did you bring?
Well, I brought my girlfriend at the time.
At the time she was.
She was the most important
Sure.
woman in my life. Yeah, those kind of things I really enjoy.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Scheduled, classy hang.
Yeah, like every Friday, bring some.
Well, not every Friday. That's a lot.
One Friday a month.
Better.
One Friday a month.
Can we crunching the numbers? Can we split the diff bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
Yeah,
See,
you can't count on Liz to be there twice a month, but I'll be there every week.
Now, not if I'm not in a couple, can I still come, or does it have to be couples?
No, you're saying it's a lady that you love. It doesn't have to be like.
Well, that's one type of dinner.
That's one
but
type
then
of
there's
dinner.
Or
a
you can
couples
have
dinner.
couples
That's
dinner,
the
or
Xena-
it's just
Xena
like
warrior
invite
dinner.
all of my the people in my life that I don't know that well, but I really like them and I want to get to know them better.
That's the whole purpose of the
That's the-
pod.
Don't yell at me.
That's what we're
Hey,
doing here.
Liz,
hey,
you're-
Tig.
This feels pre-1979.
Well,
Can I talk to you for a second?
but that resonates with us because that is literally why we started this podcast. 'Cause,
Yeah.
we were so sort of jazzed
Jazzed,
about
giddy.
becoming friends with each other that we were like, what if we created a situation where we could invite
force
people
people.
and sort of force
Force
our friend will onto them.
Yeah.
So you're here because we want to be better
That's
friends
one of
with
the
you.
best ways to nurture a friendship is to force things.
That's what I was told.
Create
Force it.
conditional
Yep.
love.
Yeah.
And just sort of a punishment.
Absolutely. There should
punishment-based
always be a
system.
punishment.
Yeah. Always.
Always have a punishment.
ABP. Always be punishing. How has your experience... Wait, can I say one other quick thing?
No.
Always be punishing.
I'd be curious to see how quick it is.
It's
That's what interests me more. We do it really fast.
So I have a new friend.
Faster.
Faster.
Wow. That's what
You
she
said real quick.
This is like what Asher does where I'm like, I'll be with you in a minute. And he goes, 1, 2,
Oh my God,
3,
same.
4. That is honestly makes me want to fucking punch a fucking wall. It's like, you said a minute.
Numbers with you and your family.
I know.
How has your experience been making parent friends, to Liz's story earlier?
Well, Stephanie gives me a hard time because she said, you know, that incredible thing of you've been with somebody for whatever amount of time and then you hit a new milestone in your relationship and then you see a whole different side
Yes.
of your spouse. Stephanie experienced that with me. I became the person who didn't really interact with the neighbors or anyone in the neighborhood. And then we had kids and I was strolling down the street. Good morning. And like, if our kids like made eye contact, I would be like, do you want to exchange numbers?
Yeah.
And Stephanie's like, you can't be giving out your number to every
It's the parent
I
thirst.
totally relate to
Oh
that.
my
the
gosh.
parent thirst. of
Yeah.
Like, would you want to play on a rug together?
Oh my, yeah. And you know, we were warned a lot about our kids' friends, parents, how they can be annoying.
Yeah.
And we've had, honestly, the exact opposite.
Oh, that's great.
We love these kids' parents. These kids are incredible. And then the parents.
No duds? Not a single dud in there.
I mean, there's a few that are just kind of interesting little characters.
Right.
No complaints. And beyond no complaints, people that.
Blessed.
Blessed girl.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag
girl.
blessed.
2, blessed to be stressed.
Yeah.
Maybe your boys have like very good taste in friends and
And
those-
And
clothing.
clothing.
Obviously.
How's work going?
Elbow patches.
Have a great weekend.
Weekend. Drive safe.
Two moms going out to dinner. It pops up on our screen on the car. We were like, have a great week.
Oh, it's a pleasure to see you. Have you ever felt like there's anyone who's like a snooch? Well, I guess based on what you just said, the answer to this will be no. But have you ever felt like because of your fame and your place on the Rolling Stone top 50 comedians of all time list,
That I make everyone aware of.
I would
seems
too if
like
I
it
was them.
really
Jeez.
asked to put it in there. Is there anyone you've ever felt is like a little extra thirsty, where you're like, I can't tell if you want to be my friend because we have kids, or you're like, you're
'Cause
a
I'm
little,
one of the top 50
you want a little bit of
comedians of all time.
this fucking glow,
This top 50.
this fucking top 50 vibe.
You know, I mean, Stephanie is well known.
Yeah, both of you.
I mean, she's in the improv, sketch, comedy, writer world,
Funny, talented
actor.
lady.
You're both high value parents.
We are high value.
as a more toxic person would say.
I feel like she has an extra sense about that, where she'll clock somebody's attention or focus that doesn't seem very natural, and she'll be like, but it hasn't really happened at the school.
Right.
Or with friends.
But it has maybe happened along the way at different times.
In the
here or
world.
there.
Yeah, certainly different times where she's like, I think these people are going to or we'll talk about, I don't want to make it all about Stephanie doing that, but we'll clock certain things and like, oh, this feels a little like they're trying to wedge in an unnatural way.
Yeah.
And there's no better way to lose us as friends.
I won't say quickly, but I had a moment when Asher was about 3 years old, maybe even younger, where we went to this gymnastics place that everybody in the east side of LA goes to this gymnastics place, and it's like a madhouse.
We go to this gymnastics place.
Yes, and so it's like every weekend morning. It's like classes at like 8 a.m. and he was not super into the class, but I'm like, I don't know why we got to go to gymnastics. Anyway, and every time we go to this place, I look like full shit. Like I've woken up. My kid is like 2. I'm a wreck. And one morning, we had signed up for a new class. Get there, I look like full shit. My kid is like being a crank, and the teacher is like taking attendance. No one is there. There are like all these kids who've not shown up. She's clearly maybe not the most popular teacher.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, that's why it's easy to get into that class. Anyway, and then it seems like it's going to be just us. And I'm like, all right, fine. And then she's saying the name of this one girl, and she's like, are they here? And then someone's like, we're here. And I look up, and it's Ryan Gosling and his daughter. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking kill myself.
Because you think he's hot?
Yeah, I think this is my version of like, don't you know what lezzing around is? Yes, he's hot. Tig.
I have a Ryan Gosling story for you after this.
I want to hear it. But anyway, so I'm like, oh no. Like, because it's not like we are all in a class with a bunch of people. Now it's just him and I.
You guys are in a private class.
We're in a private class. And I look terrible, and my kid's being a
full
dick.
Shit.
Full shit.
That's
not my
yeah.
usual stunning self. And then we have to walk around with them to each station because they're so little. And I'm like, hi. And he's like very friendly and nice, but I'm like,
Canadian.
There you go.
So there you
the
go.
Best.
It just was the last. I was having the opposite reaction to like wanting to try to nudge in there at that moment.
Yeah.
It was not good. And then, the worst part was that at the end of the class,
he wasn't interested.
He wasn't. And I see like the most beautiful woman in the world swan in, and it's
Eva Mendes.
It's Eva Mendes, and she's dressed like she's in the 1940s in like this beautiful dress that's kind of like polka dot.
Not
and
full
like,
shit?
No.
Yeah.
No, she looked great. And
boy, you've been through it, huh?
I really, really have. It's kind of like that was my C. diff cancer. You know what I'm saying?
That was your 2012.
I had such a wake up after that. Yeah. I was like, look better when you leave the house. Wait, what's your Ryan Gosling story?
Well, I'll tell you that in 1 second, but I just remembered, this is not quite what you're saying, but my son Max, oceanographer, he wanted to do martial arts. So I signed him up for martial arts. And it was so apparent once we got to the class that he wanted nothing to do with this because he just wanted to kick and punch and
and that's not all.
You don't need a class for
he
that.
didn't want to like do the like he was like
the full year of other stuff you have to do.
He just wanted to put the uniform on and be like
go crazy.
Yeah. And anyway, so we were walking out of the class, and my kids call me Mare for mother, and so we walk out, and there's this other mother and her son walking out. And I open the doors to our car, and Max gets in the back. And the woman, this is so funny because mostly people are like, are you the comedian? Are you the... This mom said, are you the Grammy-nominated comedian? And it made me think, did she just look me up on Wikipedia? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I was like...
That's so specific.
It's so specific. And she was like, and I was like, I said, yeah. And she goes, yeah, I thought that was you. And then my son Max, who has the driest...
The oceanographer.
The oceanographer has the driest delivery in the world. Don't know where he got it. And but so from inside the car, you just hear Max say... quit bragging about being a public figure and get in the car. And I was like, Max, I'm not bragging being a public figure. Yeah. And it's just this little voice, like you don't even see him. You're just coming, and I'm just standing there talking to this mom.
Did you think maybe she thought she was hearing your thoughts?
No.
She's like, are
so
you the Mississippi-born comedian?
who later moved to
American.
I was picking up Ezzy from school a couple of days ago, and one of the moms who's like the coolest person. Like, I want to be friends with her, but I don't even know how to get in there. She's like, always has the coolest outfit on, the coolest glasses. Like, it's sort of the opposite thing where I'm sort of like a little thirsty for her. And she goes, and she's really dry, and she was like, "Oh yeah, and I just heard you. I just heard you on a podcast. I was listening to a podcast. She was listening to Las Culturistas, I think, and she was like, I just heard you on a podcast." And I was like, "Here I am. Okay, I'm in." And I'm just like nodding, looking at her, and then that was the end.
That was the end.
She didn't say anything else.
my hearing works.
Yeah, and I was like, "Did you want?" And she just wanted to tell me that she had heard me, but it was not followed by a compliment or even like any kind of just.
Have
like
you ever had that happen? Then you accidentally say, "Oh yeah, thank you," where all they said was, "I heard you."
I heard it.
Yeah.
And just to wrap up the Ryan Gosling thing, when I first moved here and I was still working at Xena, Ryan was the star of Young Hercules, was the other show that we produced.
Oh my God, that's right.
And so I was an assistant and answered phones and dealt with productions in New Zealand and stuff. And Ryan, as I said, was one of our stars of one of the shows.
I heard you.
And I went home one day to my studio apartment, and who was going into the same building? And it was Ryan Gosling, the star of Young Hercules. He was not Ryan Gosling yet. And I said,
Public figure, Ryan Gosling.
And I was like, Ryan? I said, I'm Tig from the Los Angeles office. And he was like, oh, yeah, hey. He said, my mother lives here, and I just, when I'm in town from New Zealand, I just stay here. It's just a little apartment building full of studio apartments. And so
I bet she doesn't live there anymore.
I bet she does not live, and nor do I, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah, we all moved out.
Everybody kind of seemed to have grown out of that. I left out the saddest detail of the gymnastics story, which was that as we're walking around following, again, just us and our two kids and this teacher, and we're kind of in, like, we'd had hellos, and then I don't want to be weird and talk because I'm like, I don't want to be like, but also it's just the two of us for an hour.
Just the two.
So I thought I'd sing that to him close to his ear. And then, but there's a moment where they're having the kids like jump into a foam pit, and we're watching them jump into a foam pit, and we're just.
I thought you said phone pit.
It's a pit of phones. It's an electronic recycling company.
Oh, my back.
It's a phone pit. It's a foam pit. And now it's like minute 40 and it's silent and we're paused here. And so I'm like, I got to say something. I would say something if it was a regular other human who wasn't Ryan Gosling.
But go ahead.
Yeah.
It sure wasn't.
It was not.
And I was just like, I was like,
what did you say?
God.
I said,
You're nervous already, like still.
Yeah, just talking about it.
I just said.
He is not my type.
I said, you're, of course he's not.
Well, but I mean in the man category.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can
I have
types.
follow-ups about that.
Yeah.
I said, your daughter's really, really tall.
That's the best you could do.
And as soon as I said it, I just started like picturing how I would take my life at the end of the day. I was like, I can't go on. It's off. And he's like, yeah. He's like, yes, she is tall. And then, would you believe, we did not keep talking.
End of conversation.
And Kaya was a real showstopper.
Stephanie is the queen of who interjects something and nobody hears her. And then I always turn and say, I'm listening. But we now refer to it as Tooth Fairy came because she said that to someone. And they didn't hear her. I only heard her say that.
Tooth Fairy came?
Tooth Fairy came. And nobody heard her. And I just went, I was listening. And so anytime anyone says something and no one hears it, we go, tooth fairy came.
Well, can I just the extra sad addendum final piece of the story?
It's going on.
Was trying.
Oh my God.
The teacher was trying to be cool as well. Like she's not acknowledging that it's Ryan Gosling.
I'm stunned.
And then
That we are still talking about this.
Well, fuckle up, honey. There's one more detail. The next week we come back and she's taking attendance and a few other kids have shown up, but Ryan Gosling and his tall, very tall daughter
Not
are
there.
not,
He knows it's
not
tall.
there.
Yeah.
He's
Well, now that he knows
right.
that she's tall.
And then she takes attendance, and then she just looks at me and she goes, Ryan dropped the class.
I like that because it's as if it was he taking the class, like not the daughter.
Nobody even saw the daughter.
No, nobody.
Everyone's like, oh my God,
Which
Ryan
is
Gosling's
crazy
in this
because she was
class.
very tall.
Oh my
Ryan
God.
Gosling wants to learn how to do a cartwheel.
Wow. I can't believe he's
Ryan
in this
dropped the
class.
Yeah, he did not like that phone pit.
Oh man, everyone was on a real emotional roller coaster. That's the end of that story. And
And I think that's the end of the episode. I gotta be
pretty
honest.
much there. Do you want to ask our final question?
Yeah, I mean, I feel in some ways she might have
answered
already
it.
answered it. We like to do a thing on the show, or we think we like to do a thing on the show. It's so early.
Second guest.
Yeah, second guest. But we like to do a thing where we ask you about your ravioli moment, which is really just a moment where your friend showed up for you in a pretty profound way. In a way that moved you or helped you during the time.
Memorable.
I've got one.
Yes.
Let's hear it.
It was major and could choke me up, but we'll see if I can plow through.
You know what? It's okay if you get choked up.
Thank you.
We're here. We can hold space and defy gravity with that.
I think I can do this.
Okay.
So, obvious, again, sorry to harp on 2012.
We're
but
still talking about
I know, but I met Ryan Gosling.
It's feels like it was already a lot.
Can I see this?
No, Tig, please.
Wow, Liz was like, no,
No.
don't look at that.
It's all naked drawings of Tig. Somehow all
Before and after with tits. And laughed at ha ha.
I'll just say that the nipples are photorealistic.
Stop it.
So I know I've really gone into that, and I wrote it real hard. 2012 was brutal. But if you can for a moment imagine, I had pneumonia. I contracted C. diff, was hospitalized for quite a while. I was a sad sack, my pants falling off of me. The only way to hold it up was my finger.
The belt loop?
Yeah, pathetic. I was really down
Barrel
and out.
suspenders. Yeah.
My mother trips, hits her head, dies. I'm still just terribly ill. And my friend Beth, who I talked about, who is my childhood Beth friend,
Nice.
godmother to my children, wonderful human. Thomas can attest.
Mr. Thomas.
Mr. Thomas. She's just, you kind of can't believe she's real. Just the kindest. You know those people where I always describe when as soon as you meet them, it just feels like their chest is wide open.
Yes.
They're just
Yes.
Living hearts.
Everyone can relax now.
truly
Yeah.
just the best person in the world. And so my mother dies, and Beth was had planned. She has this yearly vacation that she takes with this group of friends that she had from college. So Beth was like, I'm not going to go on the trip. I'm going to come. We were in Texas. That's where my mother was living and where she died. And I was like, Beth, please do not come out. I was also still kind of in the,
Don't help me. I'm okay.
yeah, I was
guys.
still, and I was like, please don't shift anything. They plan these elaborate trips. Yeah, I was just so pathetic, in so much pain, losing so much weight, so at my wit's end in life, and just devastated, just leveled. when do you need your mother? Or,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
right about now.
Yeah.
And I was at my mother's funeral, and Beth walks in the door. Yep.
No, I'm going to cry.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I love Beth so much.
I love Beth.
That's what a friend does.
Yeah. Yeah, Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just was like unbelievable. I'm crying if you're just listening. But it was like,
The greatest.
I almost
greatest.
collapsed.
Yeah.
I almost collapsed to my knees.
I bet.
And I'm just imagining that it meant more for her to show up for her too, than
All
to be
of
on
it.
some vacation.
And knew my mother. She knew my mother
Of
like
course.
throughout childhood, and but like my mother wanted a very, very small funeral, and so it was really just our family that was there. And I was standing by my mother's casket and turned around, and Beth walks in the door. I was like, I love this person so much.
And now we love her.
And now we love her.
And she's real. I mean, part of why we asked this question, and we've had like really every story everyone has told is moving in this way. And it is like, just again, being very sincere, it's such a heartwarming and great reminder of like just the power of showing up for people.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I can always remember to do that more. Because it does lead to like, it's that powerful.
It's so incredible.
And that's great. That's why I love hearing these stories.
Yeah, that's why you can't, like, if you can make a connection with somebody at any point in your life to create the possibility that that person can show up for you at a time that you need them, like,
and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Well, that's what I always tell people when I kind of joke about this, like whether it's romantic or friends, people that are like, as you say, thirsty, and how, of course, it's not terribly attractive when somebody's like really throwing themselves at you when you're, but also how do you blame anyone when you're on this enormous planet? And you find somebody that speaks to you, why wouldn't you throw yourself like crazy at them, saying, let's be friends, or would you possibly love me? Would you possibly love me? It's really, I'm very thankful for what I have and my friendships and relationships and for you too, and Mr. Thomas. And I know we're new friends, me and you, but
I can speak for Sam, and I can say he loves you.
Oh,
yeah.
Tear up.
And we love you.
Sam's coming to the dinner.
Did I really make you tear up? I mean, how incredible is that?
It's amazing.
Just walks in the door. Anyway.
Anyway. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
Story.
What I was going to say is I was genuinely excited to come, I do a lot of podcasts.
I know you do.
Yeah, you do.
But
Top
I was
50.
genuinely excited. So this was fun.
Us too.
Oh my God, us
and
too.
how dare you make me cry.
How dare you?
After we were so silly.
Tig, one of the world's top 50 comedians of all time, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And is there anything you want to mention to our listeners before we say?
I have a very ridiculous podcast. It is called Handsome. And it
yes, it's so fucking funny.
It is the best.
It's great.
Thanks.
It's the best.
It's with Fortune Feimster and Mae Martin, and Mr. Thomas produces it beautifully. And I also have a special out that my wife Stephanie directed called Hello Again. She was nominated for an Emmy.
It's fantastic, as all of your specials are.
Well, thank you kindly. And I'm on a new Star Trek series with Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti. It's called Starfleet Academy. It'll be coming out. I was already on a Star Trek
Yeah, you were on a
series
Yeah.
called Discovery, and then that wrapped up. And then my character just popped over to the new series.
That just happens to have a Holly Hunter and a Paul
She is the
Giamatti.
lead, and he is the villain.
Awesome.
I mean,
I love that.
Maybe Holly Hunter's at that dinner as well.
Yeah.
Just saying.
She's in town right now. She lives in New York, though.
I wouldn't kick a Giamatti off the table either.
No.
Love them both.
He is so They're both incredible.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on social media at Here to Make Friends Pod and let us know who you think we should make friends with next. Email us at htmfpod@gmail.com and go out and make a friend.
Have a new friend.
Make a friend.
Make a friend.
That was a Headgum podcast.